Hi, Dad. Welcome back to another episode of Dave and Andy's Honest About Life. How are you?
I'm doing well, Andy. How are you?
I am well, thank you. I am well. So, uh, obviously, there's always a lot to talk about, everything from what's going on in the world of weather, politics, of all that kind of stuff. And we could obviously, as we often do, go down a rabbit hole and talk about politics, talk about weather. But one thing I think that you could share with me and with others is someone who was recently retired, and you recently sold your home. You moved into a smaller place so that you had more free time, you had less to worry about. What kind of advice would you give to folks in your position when you're trying to find that next thing to do to keep you busy? What are you going through to think about, what you're going to do now, is whether it's a hobby, whether it's learn a new skill. What are you thinking about, Dad?
I, I'm thinking about something to do that I really enjoy. And I gave, 43 and a half years of my life to weather, which I really enjoy. And I enjoy looking out the window now. When there's a thunderstorm, like the last couple of nights, we've had some beautiful light shows with thunderstorms. So, uh, you know, I guess my advice is to uh, other people that are just going to retire to make sure that they continue to do things that they like. So whether it be a hobby of some sort, if they built furniture for a livelihood, continue to do that, except do it on your own schedule. That's the nice part about being retired, is now you're not on somebody else's schedule, you're on your own. So it's much more enjoyable. Things that you did on a rigid schedule before that were a burden, now you can do it on your own time. And when you have time, if say if one of your grandkids comes up to you, you can go and play with them for a while or whatever. It's just totally different. But make sure that you have something that will keep you busy. And they always say, find a hobby that's you have fun with, and that's all it is. It's a hobby, and I enjoy that. I enjoy putting stuff together. So I'm one of those guys that and I'm going to throw out a name here, Aldi. If you get furniture at Aldi, you're going to be putting it together, and it's fun. It's fun because you feel like you're accomplishing something, and I think that kind of thing will keep you busy doing that. Or I love dealing with electronics. I'm an electronic nut, where I like to figure out how to hook something up. Um, and I went to with my grandchild, one of my grandchildren of my 9 that I have. I went to the Science Museum in Minnesota. What a cool place! It's been a long time since I've been there. I took him there, and it was little Gianni, and he loved the section where you put together electric and find motors and batteries and do circuitry. He loved it. We sat there for about an hour. Out of our 4 hours that we were there, we spent an hour just dealing with circuits and switches, and he's going to be a bright little kid. He is a bright little kid.
Yeah. Well, that time with you will benefit him in ways that that we can only imagine, right? We don't know at this stage, but that just giving him the opportunity to explore will benefit him. Maybe he becomes an electrical engineer,
I
mechanical
think
engineer.
I think he is going to be an electrical engineer. I was talking to the guy that was helping. He was a volunteer there at the Science Museum, and he was helping with this particular section. And he goes, "This kid is going to be an engineer," because he was figuring stuff out. He's 8 years old, and he was figuring stuff out that teenagers weren't figuring out. And
Wow,
yeah, so he was putting stuff together that was pretty cool.
he's 8 years old already.
He's 8, isn't that something?
Holy
Yeah,
smokes.
that's Alyssa's oldest.
Time flies. That's just cute. I'd love to see him doing his thing. So you worry about, if you're in my position, thinking about you and parents in general, you worry about um, mental decline, right? Because they're not challenging themselves, they're not doing new things. And to your point about, do what you love, explore that, find ways to utilize, what it is that you love. but now you can do it sort of, free of worry about, an employer. How do you notice? Do you see that could happen, Dad? That decline if you don't if you don't keep your brain challenged. Do you see that? Could that happen?
Absolutely. I think I've seen it happen with some of my friends that have, you know, I need, this sounds horrible, but I need to think about money. And like a lot of my friends that have retired don't have any worries about money, but unfortunately that just makes them, go sit at a bar or something, whereas I'm not going to name names here, but I think the fact that I'm thinking about, well, I've got to continue to make money, it's helping me keep my brain active. Even in those down times when you're sitting there with your phone, our phones can be just horrible, but they can also be helpful. Like I do words with friends, and that keeps my brain active. Trying to spell words and figure out words that I didn't use daily in my life.
Right.
So I think that is a very good activity for your brain. There are many other ways, but those types of activities keep your brain active.
So reading books and Sudoku, numbers games.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, Sudoku is a blast, and reading books. There's always more books to read. I did make a very brief book. I haven't published it yet, but I did make a brief book, and I think you and I have touched on so many different subjects that I think would be interesting to people to read. So someday we should compile all this into a book, honest about life.
That's right. That's right. And yeah, there's lots that we can do with this too. Someone who was as busy as you were for 43 years, because then I saw that, right, for a big chunk of that time, I saw that firsthand. You were racing off to work, or you were racing off to a remote shoot, where you were uh, on the air at some, remote location. You did that for a long time. So then the pressure valve the pressure is off, and now all of a sudden you're thinking, gosh, now what do I do? I used to be so busy, now I'm the exact opposite. you know uh, yeah, I worry about that, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that worry about that. And
Yeah, yeah. Don't don't you worry about me, buddy, because I and you do worry about me, and I worry about all you guys. But worry is not a good thing. I think that can tear you apart, and that stress from worry is not healthy. And it's I've had skin cancer, and I love to spend time outside. I love to, but I slather on the sunscreen, but I still get dark. So you're still doing some damage to your skin when you're out there, and you have to think, when you start to worry about stuff, that's helping the disease or whatever get a upper hand. So don't worry, don't stress about things. That's another, I think, good piece of advice for a person initially retiring. Don't worry about stuff. And especially, I think, take a month or take weeks away from everything for a while and just relax. And then you can ease yourself back into, being busy again.
yeah, have you ever done any of those personality tests, especially now that you're retired? I wondered if you feel like it would change, because you've always been someone who knows exactly what you're interested in, like from early age, which I think is really rare in my opinion. But you pursued it, right? You knew what it was, you pursued it, you did it for 43 years. And you said in an earlier session that you still enjoy looking up at the sky and watching the thunderstorms roll in, et cetera. Have you ever tried any of those now? Like there's some online that take just a few minutes to do, just to see where you land.
I'm going to have to do that because I haven't. I don't think I've ever done that. Because as you said, I had an early thought of what I wanted to do, and so I never had to take one in high school. I think kids in high school do that all the time to figure out what they're going to take in college or what they're going to go on to, for whatever kind of work that they have. They've gotten these tests, and I've never taken one, so I don't even know what it's like.
It's been a while since I've done it. I'm not even sure if it's still around, but it's online, and it takes, I don't know, 10 minutes or so to do. And I think there's maybe 40 questions or something like that. But it's called 16personalities.com. It's 16personalities.com. and then you answer all the questions honestly. You really truly have to be honest with the answers, and then it'll spit out a 4-letter, uh, acronym of your personality type, and then you can take that personality type and you can plug it into Google, and then it'll say what are the best jobs or best activities for this 4-letter personality type, and it's really interesting. So I would be curious, Dad, if you do that, 16personalities.com, and I'd be curious to see what it comes up with.
You know what? For next time, I will do that. I promise you. And yeah, I'll give you the results for that, because that does sound like it's kind of a fun thing to do. And who knows what my personality is now? It's so mumbled and jumbled up. I give people a sickness just thinking about it.
Well, thanks, Dad. Wonderful to chat with you. Thanks for the time and sharing, some of the more personal stuff about you and your past. I just obviously very much enjoy this. So thank you, Dad. Love you very much.
I love you very much, pal. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.